Hello, fourth grade. We're ready for another chapter of Hank. We are on chapter 7. It's called True Love. And the picture you're looking at is what we had just finished up with the two vultures. One of the most humorous chapters, I think, in this book. I like it. It's funny. Okay, so let's go on with True Love. Actually, there wasn't any breakfast, and then there wasn't any lunch. And along toward middle of the afternoon, it occurred to me that if I wanted to eat, I would have to get out and hustle some grub. I left camp and lit out north, figuring I would scout the head of the canyon. I hadn't gone very far when I stopped dead in my tracks. I heard some kind of clanking sound. I slipped behind a bush and studied the country ahead. I kept hearing that sound, but I couldn't see what was causing it. And then my sharp cowdog eyes picked up some movement. At first glance, it appeared to be a medium-sized, bushy-tailed dog stumbling around without a head. Well, that didn't make any sense. I'm not so easily fooled. My years of security work told me that there was more to this thing, so I decided to investigate. A dog without a head. I didn't believe it. I moved closer and pieced together the following details. Number 1. The subject wasn't a dog. He was a coyote, aged approximately 3 years and 5 months, weight 37 pounds, length, including tail, 43 inches. Number 2. He was not a he. He was a she, meaning a female of the species. Rather homely, as coyotes tend to be, but not without charm. Number 3. Subject had stuck her head into a Hawaiian punch can with the top cut off. The can had lodged around her ears and had gotten stuck there, leaving her blind and helpless. One of the first rules you learn as a cowdog is that cowdogs and coyotes don't mix. They're natural enemies, the former devoted to the protection of home, livestock, and civilization. The latter devoted to a dissolute style of life based on raiding, depredation, and uncivilized forms of behavior. In other words, I had every reason to walk away and leave the coyote to her fate. A slow, lingering death. In this business, you can't be sentimental. Still, death inside a Hawaiian punch can seemed too cruel, even for a coyote. And here we have the picture. Oh my goodness. Let's see if I can do this. Picture of her in the can. Oh boy. There you can see. There we go. Yes, and the other picture is still behind, but that's okay. Yes, that does look rather sad. Okay, I just couldn't walk away and leave her to die, even though I had a feeling that if I helped her, I would regret it. Afternoon, ma'am. My name's Hank the Cowdog. Appears to me that you're in distress. When she heard my voice, she bristled and tried to run away. Didn't go far, though. Ran into a rock. She stopped, lay flat on the ground, and didn't move. I recognized this as the natural sneaky reaction of the coyote breed. When you catch them red-handed, if they can't run away, they lie flat on the ground. I suppose they think they're blending into the surroundings. It's hard to say what they think. Coyotes are different. You don't need to be afraid, ma'am. I'm here to help you. She didn't say a word or move a muscle. Lie still, and I'll see if I can get that thing off your head. I don't know how much she understood. Coyotes don't speak the same languages as dogs, don't you see? Some of the words are similar and some aren't. Modern Doglish and the Coyote dialect both come from the same linguistic root, which was the ancient language spoken by our common ancestors many years ago before the species split into Dogus domesticus and Dogus coyotus. This is pretty technical stuff, and I don't want to bore anyone, but it is important that the reader understand these things. Well, it just so happened that I was fluent in the Coyote dialect, so I decided to address the lady in her own language. Me not hurt, Missy Coyote. Me friend, me help Missy. Missy have trouble. You not hurt? Her voice echoed inside the can. "Me not hurt, me help. Missy Coyote, lie still, not move. Hank, fixie real quick." For a long time she didn't speak, and then she said, "Missy, lie still." It was important that I got the point across to her that I was a friend, don't you see? Because it would have been typical coyote behavior for her to jump up once I got the can off her head and tear off one of my ears. They're just a little bit crazy, them coyotes, and you've got to be careful. Anyway, she lay still while I hooked my front paws around the can and started pulling. I pulled and I tugged and I strained and I grunted, and finally the can popped free. That's when I got my first look at Missy Coyote's face. I'm not one to gush or be overwhelmed. Let's get that straight right here. My years in the security business have trained me to look upon most things as mere facts. Facts to be gathered, studied, and analyzed. I mean, I'd seen women before, lots of them, scads of them. I'd been through times in my life when women were hanging all over me, and I literally couldn't take a step without bumping into an adoring female. If you're a cow dog, you get used to this. It's common knowledge that cow dogs are just a little bit special. Read your dog books. Ask anyone who knows about dogs. Check it out with the experts. They'll tell you that women flip over cow dogs. What I'm saying, and I'm just trying to put it all into perspective, don't you see, is that I wasn't one of these dogs that chased women all the time or even had much interest in them. But you know what? When I seen Missy Coyote's face and those big eyes and that fine tapered nose, I got weak in the legs and kind of swimmy in the head. She was the, by George, prettiest thing I'd ever laid my eyes on. Missy Coyote, pretty. She was still blinking her eyes against the glare of the sun. Guess she'd been in that can for a day or two. When she got used to the sunlight, she looked me over real close, and then she smiled. I melted. I actually fell over and started kicking my legs in the air. It was an unconscious, unwanted response, not the kind of reaction you would expect from a professional cow dog. But as I pointed out before, I was only flesh and blood. Missy didn't understand my spasm, I reckon, and she came over. Had her head cocked to the side, like this. Oh, yeah, you can't see me. She had her head cocked to one side. "What wrong? You sick?" "Yeah, I'm sick all right. I need to get out of here." I struggled to my feet and tried to leave, but my back legs didn't function. "Oh, not leave," she said. "Stay, tell name." I was sure she could hear my heart beating. I could. It was about to take off the top of my head, to be exact. "Me, Hank," I finally managed to say. Her eyes brightened. "Oh, pretty name, Hunk." No, not Hunk. Hank." She nodded. "Yes, Hunk, pretty name. Me like Hunk." "Whatever you say." "Me called Girl Who Drink Blood." "Girl Who Drink Blood?" She nodded and smiled. "You like?" There wasn't a whole lot of poetry in that name, seemed to me. Her mom, or whoever named her, must have been a real barbarian. "Me no like. Me call you Missy Coyote. Like Missy Coyote more so. Bloody name, not pretty." She laughed. "Bloody name pretty to Coyote. Coyote like blood. Make grow strong. Keep hair pretty in winter. Hunk no like blood in winter?" "Hank eat co-op dog food in winter. No need for blood." "What means co-op dog food?" "No can explain. Too complicated." "Why Hank here? Not at people place with many buildings and house with chicken." "Hank got mad at people. Quit job. People no understand. Hank no more guard chicken. Hank follow outlaw trail." Her eyes widened. "Outlaw trail? Dangerous. Live out in wild. Coyote around. Coyote not like Hunk." I decided it was time to turn on some of my charm. Just a little at a time, didn't want to give the girl the full load all at once. "Missy Coyote like Hank?" She smiled. Mercy me, made me weak in the legs again. "Missy think Hunk cute." "Aw, heck, really? Me cute?" Her smile faded. "But other coyotes not think so. Missy have brother named Scraunch, not like ranch dog. Hurt if find." You're Scraunch's sister? She nodded. I knew about Scraunch, the most notorious outlaw coyote in the whole country. He was big, mean, and utterly heartless. He'd probably killed more chickens and barn cats than any 3 coyotes on the ranch. And it was common knowledge that he'd kill a stray dog just for the sport. As a matter of fact, me and Scraunch had met on the field of battle and had fought to a draw, which I consider a victory. That was back in the winter, January, as I recall. Yes, it was because we fought in the snow. Scraunch was a real thug. How can a nice girl like you have such a bad brother? She shook her head. Hank, be careful. Maybe go back to ranch. Not safe here. I leaned forward and nuzzled her under the chin with the end of my nose. Oh, I'm not scared. Hank ready to fight whole family for Missy. I noticed that she started trembling, thought maybe it was the result of my charm, and then she whispered, Hank in trouble. Whole family here. What? I looked around. She wasn't kidding. The whole dang family had arrived. We were surrounded by lean-limbed, long-haired, scruffy-tailed, yellow-eyed, slack-jawed, hungry-looking coyotes. I was in trouble, fellers. I had a feeling that a wreck was coming. And that is the end of our chapter. Until next time, boys and girls.